What is trust? What does trust mean to you? Who do you trust to provide certainty? What does security mean? We all only have a certain amount of time. Where does your certainty come from? Know what tomorrow holds.
I'm really sorry for your loss. I'm here to help you with the estate. Your husband trusted in us. I'm here to bring you certainty.
Trust in us to provide certainty with your will and estate administration. Capital Legacy.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Make sure you check out Capital Legacy. Call the number there and check out the email there. A friend of mine is one of their reps, and it's always good to have a will, guys. Whatever you might think, you're not a millionaire, so there's no need to write a will. You don't know what's going to happen to you. Writing a will doesn't mean you are encouraging or you are attracting death. Writing a will doesn't mean that you don't believe in God or you don't have faith that you will live long. No, it's just to be ready, so please make sure, if you're in South Africa, make sure you call that number, the number on the screen. You can watch the video again, and also send an email, and they will be right there to help you. Thank you so much for joining me wherever you're watching from. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Nozi Po. Mboro is Hadid again. Yeah, Aminata, it's been a while. Good to have you here. Kaya, we don't know yet. So you're trying to answer Nozipo, right? Nozipo. Sunshine, good to have you here. You bring in the sunshine here from Zambia. Silos, good to have you here from Lagos, Nigeria. Kennedy, awesome to have you here. From Brits is in the house. Brits is just outside Pretoria in Johannesburg. Good to have you here. Kakiso, awesome. So I want to share about how the false prophet Mboro was chased away from a home. He was chased away, basically. And I'm going to play you the video of how he was chased away. What happened? Well, there was a 4-year-old girl who went missing. It was all over the news. The community was searching for her. She just disappeared. She was in the park and she disappeared, playing with her friends, and she disappeared. And the whole community was looking for her. It got into the media. There was a lot of awareness around it. And they were searching and searching for days looking for her. And unfortunately, I don't want to, for the sake of YouTube, I don't want to share. Some of you guys in South Africa, you know the story, how she was found. The way she was found is, when you are found and one part of your body is there and one part of your body is not there. That's what happened to her. 4-year-old. You said she was at the park with a friend, and some 20-something-year-old man came and gave one of the friend money to go buy sweets. And when he came back, they'd vanished. The little 4-year-old had vanished with that young man. So they took him to court, obviously. They now started investigating, and he was arrested. The community rallied around and the police investigated, and they found out every finger was pointing towards him. He was arrested. He appeared in court 2 days ago. The father of the baby was there, and he was very, very angry, really wanted to attack him. Right? So now here is the gist. What does Mboro have to do with this? We know Mboro, he loved cloud chasing. And spiritually, he is contaminated. Let me use that word, contaminated. There are so-called prophets that they're contaminated spiritually. What does Mboro have to do with the disappearance and the passing away of this young 4-year-old? Is Mboro involved? Does he know something that we don't know? Or is he just cloud chasing? Because Mboro is found of going into issues and stories that are newsworthy, that are in the media, he follows through just to be able to get some sort of audience, just to be able to be in the news. That's how he ran his church, his ministry, whatever he calls it. And there are false prophets. It's a strategic thing for false prophet. That's why you see false prophet like TB Joshua, when there is a big news around the world, he wants to now begin to show video that he prophesied around it, or because he wants to be relevant. They chase cloud to confirm that they are men of God instead of chasing the anointing to confirm that they're men of God. They chase cloud. They chase where the news is. All right. So Mboro now, for some reason, now went to the home of the deceased 4-year-old. The 4-year-old who passed away, he now went to the home of this baby. What was he doing there, for God's sake? There's anger everywhere because of the way she disappeared, because of the way she was found afterwards. And she was 4, for crying out loud. So there's going to be a lot of sympathy and anger and, whatever. And he went there to the home, claiming that he is the pastor of the man who kidnapped this girl, this 4-year-old, and the man who took her life away from her. But from what I heard, it's like the sister, his sister, the accused sister is a member of Mboro's church. Did he go there to try to strike a deal to tone them down? Or did he go there to try to plan something spiritually, just so there's going to be confusion in that home, and this case will just begin to experience some sort of lack of progression? You never know with these people. And those are the questions we must ask ourselves. So here is the video, and I want you to watch this video carefully. For those of you guys who are South Africans and you understand part of the language in Sesotho, I think, or Tswana, you interpret it. You can just write comments, the places where, the local language is, is spoken. Please try to let us know, everybody know what's going on. And see the way he was treated. He was basically chased out and kicked out. Here is the video. As in front of the home of the 4-year-old who passed away.
This gentleman I was explaining to them. The community is all. As a food explanation. So if they want to hit me, let them hit me. Nobody will hit I will defend myself in any way that I can. Nobody will hit Let them touch me and see.
We can't take the law into our hands. So
let them do it. No, I'm not teaching. I'm not going to run.
No, stay and you to excuse.
But
the guy is your spiritual son.
Pointing, but was never misunderstand. But was he did come earlier. And then we did not support that as a church. The family left. So when I saw this, and then I came to hear what was happening, it's not a member of my church.
Okay, siyabonga Baba Mboro.
Okay, he's not a member of his church. He claimed that.
Yes, siyabonga sicela uhambe. Siyabonga hamba.
So they're telling him,
Siyabonga hamba
leave.
baba.
Thank you,
Siyabonga
leave.
kakhulu kodwa hamba.
Thank you, you can leave now.
Siyabonga kakhulu kuza kwakho kodwa hamba baba. Asikudingi baba, siyabonga.
See the way they're chasing him away.
Bye.
So that's Prophet Mboro there visiting the home of this little girl who passed away, who was actually taken by another older man, and he did some things that are unspeakable to her. And now he showed up at the home. Was it a good idea for him to show up there? What was he actually looking for? What did he go looking for there? When people are angry and people are unhappy because of the way she lost her life in a very not so good way. Okay, Kakiso, thank you here. Kakiso tried to explain. He's saying the community were saying, we don't want any explanation. He must just go. We don't need you, Mboro. Mboro said, I'm everyone's pastor, so I was explaining the spiritual part of this whole process. You don't just show up like that, Mboro. Kaya is saying, he says the man isn't a member of his church, but the man did come to his church for assistance. What sort of assistance? So there's something, it seems like he's familiar with this man even before then. What was Mboro doing there? That's the big question to ask. Does Mboro know something that we don't know about this 4-year-old and what happened to her? Is Mboro involved? Those are the questions we should ask. Was he just cloud chasing because you want to be where the news is at? You want to be seen. You want to feel like you're a community leader. Mboro is no community leader. He's a false prophet. How can you have a false prophet as a community leader? It doesn't work that way. And there are certain prophets and apostles and bishops who, when they show up in certain places, we must chase them away. We must not be, apologetic about it. We must chase them away. Why would you just go and visit when there's so much anger? What was he looking for? I would really love to know what he was looking for. I don't think he was just there because he is everyone's pastor. No. It seems like he was looking for something. Seems like he went in there to do something, but he wasn't allowed into the home. The community was agitated and there's so much anger in the community. Fair enough. Because of what happened to this 4-year-old. She was 4, for crying out loud. 4. And what happened to her is just unspeakable. Go Google it. People like Mboro needs to be dealt with the way the community here dealt with him. That's the best way to deal with him. As simple as that. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. God bless you. I'll catch you again later. Make sure you subscribe.
This is Mark. He's married in community of property to Justine, and they have 2 kids aged 10 and 12. Like only 20% of South Africans, Mark has drafted a will. In his will, he leaves everything he has to Justine. If she also dies, their combined estates will go into a testamentary trust until the children are 21. It sounds reasonable until you calculate the real cost of dying. Mark's gross executable estate is made up of his home, investments, cars and other assets, and a policy to cover his bond. Because he's married in community of property, Justine's assets of 1.5 million rand are included in their estate total. But let's look at the costs incurred when Mark dies. This is the actual value of his assets that were for distribution, but 251,563 rands is needed for the executor's fees. But Mark's properties also need to be transferred to Justine, which means another 31,108 rand in attorney conveyance fees. Add to the growing cost estate expenses like master's fees, advertisements, disbursements and property clearances. Justine will have to find the money somewhere. Don't forget, there are also professional fees for administering Mark's life policies, retirement benefits and offshore investments worth 2 million rand. That's another 17,250 rand gone in fees. Already a substantial chunk of Mark's legacy is gone, and they don't include the cost of a funeral or the family's everyday living costs. The executor will need to find them somewhere while the estate is wound up. But things can get a lot worse for their children if Justine dies at the same time as Mark or soon after. If Mark and Justine both die, inheritance taxes that include estate duty and capital gains tax are triggered, a whopping 464,800 rand. Plus, there are annual trustee fees for the Children's Testamentary Trust, calculated at 0.75% plus VAT of the trust asset value per annum, with their compound effect being enormous. Mark's assets started at 3.75 million rand, excluding his 1 million rand life cover, but the cost of his death means he's lost 10% if he dies and 40% if he and Justine die. The available cash in his estate is all but depleted. Mark's family might have to part with their life insurance payout or borrow money to pay the cash shortfall. Or his beneficiaries might have to sell their home or other assets to release the cash. For as little as 135 rand per month, the Legacy Protection Plan solves every one of these problems and protects your family from this dire situation. And even if your estate isn't exactly like Mark's, the Legacy Protection Plan is agile and flexible enough to adapt to your unique